Welcome to this two-part series of screencasts from LSE Life. In part 1, we'll look at your literature review and use the analogy of a dinner party to help you reimagine the research you've been doing in a new light, to then help you begin to potentially structure your literature review. As you are probably discovering, the literature review is a complex process. You'll have read or be reading multiple journal articles, books, chapters, government documents, and much more. You'll have pages of documents, of notes, and more notes. And at some point, you're likely to feel, how do I even begin to pull all of this together into something coherent? Well, thinking about your literature review in a visual way can help. So how do you create the story of your literature review visually? Let's go through a quick example to get you more used to the idea. The following excerpt is taken from H.J. Chang's Hamlet Without the Prince of Denmark, How Development Has Disappeared from Today's Developmental Discourse, in Held and Roger, Global Governance at Risk. Pause the video now and take a moment to read this excerpt through. Okay, let's pick out some potential key lines from this excerpt. So we know not enough attention was paid to politics by developmental economists, but Hirschman and Myrdal are exceptions. Since then, there has been a discourse emerging that's been dominated by the neoclassical political economy, which is problematic. There is also something called the new developmentalist approach, which Chang has written about himself in 2002. Now, let's imagine this excerpt as a dinner party conversation. Imagine you're holding a dinner party based around this excerpt. At the party, they are going to be discussing your research area of politics and how it relates to development. How will you seat them at the table? What will they talk about together? Who will get along well? Who will disagree? So what will your dinner party look like? Well, it could initially be something like this. From the excerpt, we can imagine that Hirschman and Myrdal will probably get along, so they've been put together. We know there is a group of neoclassicists. We don't know who they are, but they probably would enjoy sitting together, so let's put them at the other end. Then we've got Chang himself. Where could he go? Maybe over here. There's also Sen. He wasn't in the excerpt, but we've heard of him. Maybe he needs a seat at the table too. Could he go next to Chang? Let's now try this with your own research. Imagine you're inviting the authors you've been reading to a dinner party. At the party, they'll discuss your research question, but you can't invite everyone. Who gets an invitation? How will you seat them at the table? Will you have one table or multiple tables? What will they talk about together? How will they get along? Who will get along well and who will disagree? So your dinner party could be one big table with lots of seats, or multiple tables, wedding style, all discussing different things. Or maybe you see your table as more boardroom style, with certain people at the head of the table chairing the meeting and others contributing. How do I actually do this? Well, you could do it in a Word document using shapes or in a drawing app, but this is much better as an active process. Being active helps to refresh and re-engage your mind, so try this process as one where you physically move. You could use lots of pieces of paper and post-its and play around, stand up, move things, try different tactics and layouts, use different colours to represent different parts of the conversation or different schools of thought. It's up to you what your dinner party looks like. Try out different layouts and configurations until you are happy. Let's look at an example. This is an example of a number of authors I read when looking at the research area of representations of masculinity in children's literature. Starting to arrange them for my dinner party, as you can see, I started with a big table configuration first. put my psychoanalysts together, my hegemonic masculinity theorists together over here, my gender theorists are here, and my literary theorists are over here. As you can see, I've got a few people off the table that I'm not quite sure where to place yet. Then I thought some more and rearranged my dinner party, fitting all of my authors in now around the table. But I realised I wasn't completely happy with this, so I had another go and moved a few people. Then I had one last go and rearranged some more. By this point, I could see some natural arguments evolving for my potential literature review. I could see 4 potential subsections in my literature review that were evolving. They were gender theory, hegemonic masculinity, psychoanalysis, and theories of reading and writing. As you could see through this process, I was able to take the multiple authors and theorists I'd been reading, and through the process of imagining their conversations as a dinner party, I began to see an emerging way the discussions in my literature review might potentially be arranged. In part 2, we'll look at how this initial thinking helps us create a storyboard, firstly for our literature review, but also build on this to potentially storyboard our whole dissertation.